Good everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. So what I'll do in this episode to talk about the App Exchange as a part of your platform developer, platform app builder certification. I missed this topic because that time it was not required when I first initially made the course. Now seems to me that App Exchange plays a very important role. As it used to do before. Okay, so now what is an app exchange? Okay, so you must be thinking if you know what an app exchange, that's great. But app exchange, if you think from an app store perspective, like you might have used Android phone or an iPhone, right? So iPhone has Apple Store and Android has a Google Play Store, right, where developer develops their application and posts it there, right? So, for instance, in Android, you use Android Studio, perhaps, or you can even also use different technologies to deploy the app. But general, if you wanted to go for native, then you built it using Android Studio, and for an Apple, you use normally Swift programming language and use Xcode, right? So similarly with Salesforce, you use Salesforce tools to build the app. Like it could be a page layout, it could be a custom Apex code, or everything bundled in the form of a package, and you release it. Now, App Exchange is like a solution, right? Solution you sell it to customers so that they can download it and they can buy your solution, right? For instance, Conga. Conga is an App Exchange solution, right? It's a where you can manage your document templates, which is a pretty great solution. So similarly, there are a lot of other solutions out there. I'll just show you how to look for it, right? So I've logged into my org, which is pretty straightforward, right? And then when you log into your org, you go to normally you go to the homepage, okay, which is like a setup. Okay, so if you do not know how to go to setup, so it's the gecko icon. Setup, it will take you here. Pretty nice and easy, right? Nothing fancy here. Okay, now go to the App Exchange so you can go to Get Started. So this is where you can download, you can look for an app like a CPQ, for instance, or say Salesforce adoption dashboards, right? So let's say I look for something called Consultant. Okay, now and you got consultant apps. So consultants apps is like an app from say PwC or app from Deloitte, or for Accenture or for other consulting firms, right? Like for instance, Tata Consulting Service is a pretty big consulting service in India and very popular. So it's their app, right? So similarly, we have Redpod. So, I mean, if you wanted an app related to their company, you can download it. They might have built some solution which is useful to you. Then we have an app. Then we have a component. So, um, if you've been a Salesforce consultant, okay, if you've been an admin or developer, or you would have at least installed one app, whatever app. I mean, at least I expect you to know how to install an app from an app exchange, right? If you do not know, that's pretty simple. You just pick an app. Say, for instance, I want to pick this app. Yeah. Come on. I just got more, and get it now. When you do that, it will install you. So this is paid app, but I'm just giving an example. And so this is the way. The one of the main thing when you develop an app, right? A few things you have to consider. You have to keep the performance into consideration. You can't build a sluggish app and expect the customer to appreciate it, no matter how good your functionality is. But if your app is very sluggish, very slow, right, it's become totally unusable, because you have to understand one thing. Okay, even though Salesforce is used by a customer who has some understanding of the Salesforce, not every customer is a tech savvy. Okay, they won't understand what's happening behind the scene. Even if it's a functional consultant really, unless they came from a programming background, then it's a different story. But some of the functional consultant has no idea how the Apex code works. So if you're building an Apex code and packaging it and selling it as an app exchange, you have to make sure, in the form of a managed package, so you have to make sure that a code behaves correctly and in an optimal way. Okay, so that's what something we call the need for speed, which is very important. Okay, um, now you must be looking at the screen right now and say, okay, that's all great. Okay, now what is this apps components? Okay, so apps are a complete specialized application. Okay, in simple terms, right? You build a complete package and into deploy, right? Like I said, Conga, a full app. Components, it's a little bit different, right? They are building blocks used to add functionality to the pages, apps and Bolt solution. Now, you must be wondering, this guy used the term Bolt solution. What is it? Bolt, B-O-L-T, okay? B for boy, O for Oscar, L for London, T for Texas, right? Bolt solution. It's an industry solution paired with partner service, okay? In simple terms. Then you have, like consultants, as you can see, it's like, like I mentioned, it's like a PwC or, an Accenture or, Deloitte or, KPMG, Tata Consulting Service, these kind of companies when they expert in specific domain and they build an app, specific to domain on a Salesforce space. Okay, so these are kind of called consultant apps. Okay, so now what are the qualities of App Exchange? Why do you use an App Exchange, right? So think about, even if you haven't used an App Exchange, I'm pretty sure you would have used everyone uses smartphone. I mean, it's a different story if you don't want to use it, but I'm just saying a general perception, right? People, at least 70% of the population, right, who have access to smartphone have used or downloaded at least one app. It doesn't matter from an Android or from an Apple store, or even if you have that old good old Windows Microsoft one, right? You would have downloaded from the Windows store. So, what are the qualities you look for in an app? First of all, it should be easy to install. Right? It shouldn't be like a zigzag puzzles, right? Where you have to go there, where you have to go there, right? And so that's one thing. It's the same thing you look for when you try to install an app from an app exchange. It should be easy to install. Okay, should be tested for security because Salesforce takes security very easily, very seriously. I'm sorry, because you shouldn't be installing an app which is going to break your Salesforce system. Okay, which has impact on existing customization or whatever. So you have to make sure that when you install an app, it should be tested for security. Um, and there should be something called peer review. Okay, peer reviewed. So there are more than 80,000 peer reviews of App Exchange solutions. So that's just great. Um, and it's easy to install, okay, which is pretty straightforward, right? You can just get it now, install for admins or install for all users, okay? Now, that's in a nutshell, discovering App Exchange solution is all about, okay? So that's one thing I just wanted to talk about. And so next time, what we're going to do, we're going to just install a solution and just see how it works, right? It's pretty simple. We'll find one and we'll do that. So for today, this is all I wanted to cover. You see, I'm just trying to, cover up the topic which Salesforce things that needs to looked after in a little bit in a different way, right? So that's why I'm requesting you guys, right? If you think that say for instance, platform developer is a bit off, just let me know. I will cover it whenever I can, right? So this year it started a little bit busier for me. Like today, I started at like 8 o'clock and I worked till 7. So it's like a massive. I have to do massive, code reviews and just looking at the solution which I want to build. As you know, that I'm gonna leave my current job, um, moving to work as an architect. I mean, I'm already working as an architect, so for a government agency. So I'm moving to one of the big four, and from there they will put me into another government project, which is a bit interesting, right? Because I have been working with the government agencies for a while. So once you work in a government agency, they trust you. So right, so the next government agency will take you because they know you have experience working in a government agency, right? And that trust building is very important. And New Zealand is a very small country, so everyone knows, everyone in the Salesforce space. So which is great, right? It has its own pros and cons, but sorry for rant, but I just thought just mention it anyways. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing evening. Take care.